Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my reaction to Doctor Who Season 1 Bad Wolf, Episode 5, Dot and Bubble. At time of recording, it's 10:15 p.m. on Friday the 7th of June, so I got to get this quick because I got to go to bed soon so I can go to Big Finish Day tomorrow. Yay! And also, I'm going to pay tribute to two actors who sadly passed away recently. One a few weeks ago, but whose news about we only found out at the start of this week. And then on that same day, the other person passed away, and we found that out the next day, or next day. So first of all, a tribute to Japanese voice actress Eriko Masuyama. I'm probably butchering the name, but she was the original voice actress to Fujiko Mine from Lupin the Third in 1969, and then from 1977 to 2010, and then one more time in 2012, excluding one time in 1987. But besides that one time, she was the main voice actress for Lupin the Third, from Lupin the Third Part 2 in 1977 through to the Last Job special in 2010, plus the pilots in 69 and another OVA in 2012 before handing the role over in 2011 to the current voice actress. Her passing was apparently the day before my birthday on the 20th of May, my birthday being the 21st, and we only found out about it on the 3rd, so a quick tribute to Eriko Masuyama. You were absolutely fantastic as Fujiko, and we will miss you, my darling Fuji Cakes. Rest in peace. And then, of course, the second actor to pass away recently that I am paying tribute to, and more relevant to this video, is Ian Chesterton himself, William Russell, who is also bloody fantastic. Thank you so much, William Russell, for being Ian Chesterton. You were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, you Doctor Who fans need no introduction, but for those coming from elsewhere, William Russell plays the first male companion of Doctor Who, Ian Chesterton, in Doctor Who from season 1's from the first episode, An Unearthly Child, episode 1, Unearthly Child, in 1963 to episode 6 of The Chase in 1965, doing almost 2 seasons of the show, as well as returning for 2022's The Power of the Doctor, setting a Guinness World Record. See what going quickly does to you guys. As well as playing the character, as well, and the first Doctor, a few times on audio for Big Finish Productions, including the 2012 special, The Light at the End, which I've got just behind me. I would dig it out, but that could cause a bit of a tumble. So yes, it was very sad to hear. When I heard from some friends that he had passed away, I was like, what? No way, no. But it was true, sadly. So, we sadly lost Mr. Chesterton. So once again, I'd like to raise a toast to both Eriko Masuyama, I'm probably butchering that second surname, and William Russell. Now I'd spent about 3.5 minutes doing that. I better get this reaction done quickly. Right, well, Dot and Bubble. The reaction for this one was kind of a mixture of, okay, where is this going? It's commentary on people's uses of social media, especially young people, where it's also a story that's focusing on a supporting character, a guest character in the lead role, akin to Love and Monsters and Blink, with Blink probably being the one that's going to be more compared to. Less so, and also Mission to the Unknown, if we're going to also reference Classic Who, where it's more about the guest character rather than the Doctor and or companion / a companion. So we're focusing on this character called Lindy, who's part of this social media group in a place called Fine Time. Things are great, but people have started going missing. Some people have noticed, but most people kind of just get on with their day and act on social media. But then the Doctor and Ruby Sunday then try and get in contact with Lindy to try and warn her about everything and try to get her and other people out of there, but more so her. And eventually, I'm doing a speed one of the plot for this reaction. I'll go more detail for the review. Hopefully when I've got more time to record that. But eventually, after quite a bit of time, they manage to convince her, and as she starts making her escape, aided by Ricky September, who is a guy she likes, a pop star on the internet. By the way, I really like Ricky September for, like, there is the twist about these the everybody on Fine Time later, but who which really puts them into like a likability question. But in terms of the excluding that factor, I'll get back to that. So excluding that factor, Ricky Sylvester is probably the not Sylvester. Ricky September is probably the most likable supporting character in this episode. He's actually a really nice guy. Again, taking up the factor that's revealed about these characters later, but besides that, he's actually a pretty cool guy and pretty decent. And he's actually a pretty good guy. But yeah, it was interesting kind of seeing this commentary on the social media aspect, and that other factor is the implied racism of the future generation of, I suppose you say these are colonists, I guess. Yeah, so again, like I said, excluding that implied thing, Ricky September is pretty cool, but take that in, that is a knock on his character, and that is basically where any sympathy for Lindy also goes away, because she's actually quite annoying earlier on. But okay, maybe we're hoping she's going to develop and grow over time. You know, characters start off like that all the time in not just Doctor Who, but in media in general. They can start off unlikable, but then they can grow, they can get better, they can improve, especially with the Doctor's help and involvement and influence. But actually, we see Lindy kind of go the opposite direction. Even before we get to that revelation, she actually ends up being more a villain. I'm not going to go too much into spoiler detail, but let's say she does something to Ricky September, despite liking him, but to save her own skin, she does something pretty villainous to him, and then lies about what happened later on. So we can show some very unlikable traits. The episode is actually doing an interesting thing of presenting us with a very unlikable character who actually gets worse over time rather than better. So character development in reverse. And then there's that whole revelation about them potentially being racist. Well, actually, not even potentially. They very much heavily implied / almost stated, like outside of directly saying so. To be honest, I actually didn't catch on there. I thought they were saying no to the Doctor because he's an outsider and they've got their own way of living. And I suppose that's partially true. But then Russell T Davies say it's also a race thing, or more so a race thing. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't catch that the first time. I'll have to see about that on the second time. But yeah, I didn't really notice it, so it was interesting to find out then. Like going on a second viewing, it might be a bit more obvious, or I might be able to be like, okay, now I know what that's about, I can probably notice it a little bit more. But yeah, that very powerful performance from Ncuti Gatwa at the very end, because this was the second episode they filmed, excluding the giggle in the production block. Then yeah, they along with 73 yards, but he was only really there for the Welsh scene bits, and he's great there. But this is where and also the giggle, but this is where he really probably comes into his own, much like Millie Gibson did last episode. And yeah, it's he's really great down there. I think the visual effects for this episode are probably the strongest of the series so far. It is a very VFX heavy, but with the bubble, mostly with the bubble things and with the woodlife slug creature things. I don't think we got did we get a name for them? They probably did. Can't remember. At least for the production wise, they gave them a name. They don't really explain where they came from. We find out that the AIs turned against everybody for some reason. But we're not really sure about the slugs, where they came from. There's not really much of a explanation on those. Again, a second viewing could help with explaining that. Maybe there's something I missed, but it also apparently happened on the home world as well, where these characters are coming from. So I don't know. Maybe we'll find out later in the series. Maybe if there's an explanation later in the series that is going to be revealed about something. Who knows? But yeah, it was an interesting episode, commentary on social media things. Some things don't quite line up, like how young people don't. Young people need rely too much on the socials to actually be able to walk. Maybe that's going one step a bit far. And then when Lindsay is with Ricky September, she has no trouble running and walking when she's with him. Okay, fair enough. I suppose she's learning with him, but once he, what she does to him happens, she's then fine, like running down the corridor. So I guess maybe the projection again. I might need to rewatch the episode. I do need to rewatch the episode. Maybe I missed something the first time, but yeah, some other people have been noticing it as well. So yeah, maybe she's quicker to adapting once she actually accepts the situation and the reality of everything. I think the twist of killing off all the characters in alphabetical order of surname is a interesting revelation as well. I think that's a good twist as well. And yeah, overall, I think it was a bit of a strange watch and with the commentary and all, but I think execution wise, this is one of the best looking episodes, along with 73 Yards. So I guess Holmes Williams, Dylan Williams Holmes, whichever way the name is. Sorry, Dylan. Is probably the best director of the series so far. But then again, each director's done their own great talent. I could even comment on Jamie Donahue, even though his episodes haven't aired yet, because he also did Destination Scaru. So they've all done great stuff, 60 specials and main series. But I think Dylan Holmes Williams, I think, is probably the strongest director in terms of the visual execution. They are the best looking two episodes of the series, along with of the main series at least, along with Wild Blue Yonder and The Giggle from the specials, although Rachel Talalay is still one of the best directors of the show. But yeah, the visual execution is really great. I think the story, again, I've got to rewatch the story to kind of maybe notice some other stuff and like follow on some other things. Some kinks could have been ironed out, but for the most part, it is a pretty good story. And I think what it tries to do with its uncomfortability factor and its making you dislike the lead guest character, who pretty much is the lead character for most of it, does a good job. It does a pretty very good job with that potentially intentional route. So yeah, that's my take from Dot and Bubble. Again, I think I've got to rewatch it to understand it a little bit more, to like it a bit more. And once I get round to the review, then I will be able to talk a bit more about it. Hopefully, certainly I won't be speedrunning my thoughts on it. But by then I should hopefully maybe noticed some more of those kinks, or understood it a bit more, maybe a bit of both. And I'll talk about some other stuff a little bit more as well. But yeah, this was a enjoyable episode, or at least enjoyable in places. It was a bit of a strange watch, but enjoyable in other places. So hopefully next time it's a bit more of the enjoyable side, now that we know what's coming. Despite the certain revelations and certain events. But yeah, we'll see how it all goes. And yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Next episode is a Rogue, which is one of the ones I was most looking forward to, along with The Devil's Cord, aka the Regency episode of the series, / the Bridgerton pastiche episode of the series with Jonathan Groff and Indina Varman as supporting characters. So see how that goes, and I'll get back to you on that, hopefully a bit sooner than this one, especially if it's just the first viewing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.